Hello, it's Deja Bliss. Welcome back to my channel as we talk about Kundalini awakenings. And I help you guide you on your journey of this vital life force energy in all the ways that it shows up in your relationships, in your sexuality, in your health, in the cosmic vibes. I'm your guide. So thanks for being here. If you like this channel, please subscribe so you get all of my daily videos. And if there's something that you think would help somebody else, please do share. I appreciate you being here so much. We are officially in the first day of spring all day. It's Aries season, although a lot of planets are still hanging out in Pisces. So we still have, it's not quite the burst of energy that we see normally every year with the movement into Aries, but let's take that back to our Kundalini story that we started a couple of days ago. If you missed that video, check it out 2 days ago. I'll put the link here as we start just before moving into spring, speaking of how the Kundalini energy is much like a queen who's asleep and dreaming, like the end of Pisces, and then begins to stir and begins to raise her head and look around. And this is when we have these inklings, these things that happen in our life that cause us to take different perspective. And for a lot of the world, that was the events of 4 years ago, the 2020, right? This shake up to our reality, this cessation of the previous reality caused a collective awakening. So yes, we've been in a collective awakening for the past 4 years. And so what that looks like is this life force energy coming up, looking around, going back down, getting up, looking around, checking out through all the spinal centers, all the chakras. And when that happens, when Kundalini moves into one of the centers, then you have a cleansing of that psychic center. So you have issues and situations that arise that were part of your stored perspective. And if we're talking about the lower two centers right now, at the beginning of Aries season, we're talking about our basic needs, our survival, and our sexuality. Sexuality, ancestry, and basic satisfaction. So these are basic human needs. Even this idea of staying 6 feet apart and covering your face, this all challenged us in these root and second chakra issues, and the way that we could connect, the way that we could feel safe interacting with each other. So as we've gone through the last 4 years, you may have been facing some old patterns around relationship, old stuff around money, around your living situation, and so forth. Yesterday, we did some practice to work with the vital energy, because a few days ago I was describing, actually one of my best watched videos lately is Kundalini and sexual energy the same, or are they different? And we have had like a bunch of views on that, so thank you so much. So I'm kind of wanting to revisit that again and again on a deeper level. And in yesterday's video, I talked about music and playing a guitar, and compared Kundalini being active and awake in the whole body to more like a masterful musician, and someone with a more asleep Kundalini, their sexual energy is more like just someone picking up the guitar and boom, 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 plucking a few notes. So a very base experience, very simple experience with this life force energy versus whole body experience, right? So I'm wanting with this Aries season, as I said, to focus on the sexual energy through the eyes of Kundalini. And so let's look at your own sexual experiences, yes, over the course of your life, but especially in the last 4 years, and see how like these things may have been challenged, or they may have wanted you to address them anew, or maybe you felt like you wanted to address them anew. You've been going about things in a certain way, but now you wanted to go about things different. Maybe you wanted to change certain habits, or maybe you wanted to stop seeing certain kinds of people, or maybe you're just noticing that you have addictions, or you have suppression, or you have different issues in regards to this energy. So I want to, again, sort of reiterate what I said in the previous videos about Kundalini versus sexual energy. Remember, your spine and the spinal centers along the column, this is the pathway for this Kundalini Shakti, this Ma creative energy of the universe to flow through. But when we are more asleep, let's say, or not as aware, those centers are closed, like the valve of a hose. It's like closed down, so only like a little bit is coming through, or maybe almost none, right? And so, but you are alive, so some is coming through. And one of the main purposes of a human is to reproduce. That's a very base survival instinct. Survival of the species and survival of your genetic code is in your first and second chakras. That's part of it. And as you get into deeper spiritual studies, you'll find like we don't just have the double helix. There's actually like multi-dimensional strands of DNA, like 13 or more, depending on who you talk to, that align with these psychic centers, right? So we're activating more like our spiritual DNA as we continue. But initially, you're on a subconscious level, on a primal level, again, which is first chakra, you are compelled to reproduce, right? So whether or not you like want to have babies or try to have babies or try to stop having babies or like go through means to not have babies, that sexual energy is a drive for the species. So it's part of the collective life force energy that's trying to, through you, make sure that creation continues, right? Because without sex and that implication, like the species would die out. So when someone says sexual energy is not Kundalini, I'm like, well, I mean, life force energy wants life to be. And the basic way that that happens is through sex. So sexuality is part of the life perpetuation energy, the perpetuation of life force. It is the force of, I think like mothers grow babies, right? Divine Mother, the Mahashakti, if you will, in the Indian language. In Sanskrit, Maha, the great Shakti, the great mother, the great divine feminine energy, the creative energy of the universe, which is also Kundalini, wants to like create. So it's created through you and I, mainly through sexuality. So we can extend that capacity and realize ourselves as creators in a larger sense. Not that having kids isn't huge, that's amazing and wonderful, but we also are creators of worlds, creators of inventions and projects and languages and ways of communicating and healing and all this stuff. That is creative energy of the universe as well. And so when you learn how to move that vital energy through your body, like one of the exercises I taught you yesterday, first to just even feel that energy move to different parts of your body is the first step. But when you can take that Kundalini, that sexual energy, and channel it up the spine and move it through different centers, now you're directing that vital creative energy, which I talk about in my book, Create Your Life, Not Just Babies. You can find that on Amazon, sexual empowerment book. It's a really tiny book and a really great read. Came to me in like a week and just boom, it was there, super powerful. So I'll put the link to that below too. Anyway, when you can channel that energy to a different part of your body, then you're using your God essence, your divine birthright, this Shekinah, Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, Kundalini energy through you to like love, or through the third center, create, manifest creations in the world, like your art, your music, your cooking, your dance, your architectural structures, your co-ops, your business collaborations. These are all driven by Kundalini Shakti. And these are all energies that we divert some of that sexual energy from the lower chakras into a higher chakra to put that power of creation, that Kundalini behind what we're doing. And sometimes we do that because we don't have a choice. Like maybe we don't have a sexual partner, or maybe that things aren't just working there. And so, or we're burning the midnight oil, so we don't really have time for sex. And so we take that energy and we actually do channel it. We use it somewhere else, maybe unknowingly. So as this Aries season starts, start to notice where this creative energy is being focused in your life. And I do have a video on Kundalini in your astrology chart, so you can see like how you best can tune into, or revitalize or channel your Kundalini based on where your what your fifth house is doing and what's there. So yeah, that's a really great thing to look at as well. And so start to look at, where am I putting this creative life force energy, and what is my sexuality doing? Like, am I packaging that up and thinking that is separate from my life force? Do I believe that those are two different things? Do I believe that my sexuality is only this base genital sensation? Or am I open to the idea that I'm a God being and this is part of my creative equipment, that I'm also meant to feel this in my whole entire body, and to experience a remembering of a greater me, a greater connected me in myself, but also with another. It is in divine sexual union that we experience oneness like we cannot by ourselves, because we are literally merging two back into one. And that is this sense of what it feels like to come to unity, and why it can be so ecstatic and so beautiful if we learn how to not just have it like come and go really quick. If we can, tantric exercises for sexuality are things that elongate that experience, that like generate the energy, and then pause and breathe and touch skin and look at each other, and then come back again and build the energy again, and then pull away. Can feel kind of like teasing, but consciously done, it's actually building that energy and moving that Kundalini into all parts of the body, so that it's penetrated all the chakras. And then when you come together and you really like merge, then all the chakras are involved. It is not just a genital explosion. It is not just a lower center orgasm. It is unbelievable. So that's all I have for you today. I encourage you to watch some of the last few days' videos. If you haven't already, please let me know if you have any questions or comments. Share this video, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Happy spring, and I love you. Mwah.